Hi, I'm Liam Northup, and this is my assignment number 2. My game is an adventure-based game where we are first introduced to a villager after we faint wandering a forest. We are quickly offered bread, and when you take it, you receive 5 hunger points. If you don't, you stay at your predetermined 2. After the villager asks your name and you input into the game, you arrive at a village with 10 coins that the villager gave you, and have to choose a set of armor for your upcoming journey. So we're given 4 options, each at varying price, and then each, depending on how much you spend, will give you different stats. The 4 stats from the tools you choose are protection, damage, ranged damage, and style. After that, we are shown our stats. Since we chose nice shoes, a villager congratulated us and gave us some food, which increased our hunger stats by 5. We soon faint again and wake up in the healer's house. It is revealed that we have a terrible curse and must travel to the top of a mountain to get the cure from... it's not revealed yet. We are given 2 choices once we were walking up the mountain. Take a flower or cave. This one we chose the cave. It's lined with torches, and by chance the bats left us alone. And then we are given the option to see our stats, which we take. We run into a healer's stand and quickly eat some food and a health potion, which returns us to full hunger and gives us 2 health points. We are quickly given a password based on our input of 8. And then, just for the sake of this video, we got the password wrong, so we can take the Goblin's test. We'll get the last one wrong, and then you'll see that it'll give us a nice little score. And then quickly we go into a dark castle. We see a witch and ask her to erase our cure. She says we are unworthy, and then she gives us a chance to pick a number. Since the number we picked was wrong, we now have to engage in a dragon fight. Because of our gear, we defeated the dragon and earned our cure. We start by importing time and random. Then we set up all our stats. There are 10 stats: health, hunger, protection, damage, bow damage, which is range damage, style, items, which is an item list, money, which is your amount of coins, the amount of food pieces you have in your inventory, and the HP of the dragon, which you might have to fight. These are all my functions. View stats just prints out all your stats for you, so you can see this is available multiple times within the code. Define eat. This just works by you consume food. You have to make sure that you actually have that amount of food, and then it increases your hunger, and it will return the hunger and your updated food count, which will go down. And then there's the bat fight. You might have to fight a bat if you go into a cave. Well, if you go into the cave, it'll play this, and then you can see that if you have high style, the bats will leave you alone. Or if your protection and bow damage are high, then you can fight off the bats with the armor and ranged weapon. Otherwise, you get -5 health. Then you give a passcode. This generates a passcode, and then it's return passcode, because then that's saved so they can check if later when you input it, it's right. And then this is a quiz. So if you get the passcode wrong, the goblin makes you take his quiz, and this is just a quiz, and you get a little score at the end. After there's a play game. This is the witch's chance to leave you alive. You have to pick a number 1 through 10, and if it's the same number as randomly generated here, you'll survive. Otherwise, the witch will call you a fool, and it'll play dragon with health equals. You need all these stats, but the only stat that actually changes here is health. Then define dragon. This is the dragon fight. That way it calculates your player's damage output, and then this is the dragon's attack effectiveness. So your damage is a combination of your melee and range damage, and then this is lowered by the protection. So your armor, your ranged weapon, and your normal weapon all have a factor in this. And then if you can defeat the dragon faster, you sometimes you have to do health -1, min 10. This is damage you occurred during the fight, and then 10 is just to assure, because in some scenarios you can exceed a health of 10. So this ensures that your final display is never above 10. After it returns your health for the final display. Otherwise, if you lose the dragon fight, then you will lose. Then your difference between the dragon will spare you at 1 HP, which means that it calculates the difference between your health and 1, and then it says minus that amount of health, and then your health is set to 1. After the dragon spares your life, then no matter what finish happens, again at the end, it always goes in the same direction. To find finish, good job, traveler. Your bravery saved your life. Enjoy the rest of your days. And then it gives you 10 seconds to read the final code, and then exit, which ends the program. Which I learned from Noah, because before we just did T-dot then. Then this is the story. Then you see time sleep here. I learned this from this website. This is so the text would move more fluidly, and it wouldn't feel like huge blocks of dialogue coming in at a time. It helps the pacing of the story a lot. So you can see this is our story. Again, then you can see if we take the bread, our food equals 1, and then we eat. And then we have the updated food count, which goes to 0, and then our hunger, which goes to either 7. Otherwise, if you don't say yes, then you don't take it, and your hunger stays at it is, and your food is at 0 because you didn't take it. Then it'll reveal your hunger bar, introducing you to some of the stats, time.sleep, and then you get 10 coins, and then you go and you make your purchases. So you can see that now you have your coin stats. Your coins is 10, and then each option, it goes through the options and sees if you picked leather, if your option was leather, or chainmail or whatever it was, and that you have enough money. If you don't have enough money, but it was an option, they'll say you don't have money for that. Otherwise, if you say nonsense, it'll say no armor, brave choice for a brave warrior. And then it'll tell you how many coins you have left before you make every purchase. And then after it'll view all your stats. Then you go to the village's healer. If you still had money left over, they just get rid of that. They say that you were robbed. Otherwise, you just wake up. If they have no money, then you just wake up. And if you do have money, you feel that your pockets have been emptied and you have no more money. Time sleep, yeah, okay, then there's a bit more dialogue. Then you get sent on this journey. If you go take the cave, we saw what happens. The bad fight happens, so you have a chance to avoid that. If you take the flower route, then it turns out to be a super long route, and then you take a toll on your hunger, and if you've been irresponsible and now you have 0 hunger, you'll start to take damage. If the user puts in nonsense or doesn't choose, they say, I don't want to go to either. The dialogue will make you go into the cave. Going to see your stats, and then it gives you a chance to view your stats. You run to the healer, who gives you some good health boosts and food boosts before the fight. Then you go and meet a goblin. You get your password generated up here, and then after, or you meet a wizard, and then you meet the goblin who wants the passcode, and then you can, if you get it right, it says you shall proceed. I intentionally got it wrong when I demonstrated to you, because the goblin will make you take a fun little test, and you get a score. Then it's the final fight. You enter a dark castle, see a wish alone, and then health play game, and then that's the final. You have a chance to avoid the dragon fight. Then you go through the dragon fight. Health equals allowed updated health stats for finish, and then finish, you see all your stats, which if you had to track how well you did in the game, it'd be if you can finish with the highest health stats. All right, I hope you enjoyed my game.